All right. We decided to go a few minutes early because of how much stuff we have to talk about tonight. So we got 3 episodes planned for you tonight. Episodes 10, 11, and 12, all going live tonight in succession, one after the other. This first episode is going to be a bit of a recap on San Diego Comic-Con 2022. That just happened this last week. There was a lot to unpack as we went into Comic-Con, as it happened, and the initial fallout after it was done, because there was a lot of thoughts that a lot of people had about a lot of different things. So, you know what? Let's just get right into it.
Woo, baby, is it spicy out here right now, Taylor?
We are back.
Spicy. Yeah, we are.
Obviously, I have moved. My house is partially set up and unpacked. All my stuff is haphazardly thrown into a pile. So, bear with me, everyone, because realistically, there's a lot going on, and I will not be where I want to be with this my studio probably for another few weeks. So.
I'm so excited to I'm so excited to see the evolution of your office with lights and all the other fun things that are going to happen over time.
I love how the first couple comments. Yep. Thank you for coming back. I definitely love us going live. We haven't done this in a while. The first question, what are your thoughts on the Batgirl movie canceled? That is show number 3. That's not right now.
Yeah, that's not right now. We're going to get to that in a couple minutes.
We will get to that because I have a whole show of thoughts on that specifically. But for now, let's just go over what happened at Comic-Con. So Comic-Con happened, and we've talked about this dozens of times in the past. You and I I'm not saying religiously, but just the entirety of high school back in the early 2000s. I think, if I recall, I think our freshman year, my dad took us for the first time. And then the remaining 3 years, we said no parents, and we just went, we took the coaster down via that way. And for people who don't live in San Diego, the coaster was this wonderful, not so public transport train system that they had. It was like, I don't know, it was like $4 to get down from like the whole coast.
Insanely cheap. When eventually
it was super cheap.
It was eventually linked all the way to downtown, which was the best. And then you could take it from there.
You could like go from like LA to San Diego once it was ready. But
you know what's funny is I don't think it was completely done. I think we went to Quailcom. We went to the old Charger Stadium and then took a train down.
Yeah, so we had it for our stop. We would like get on the Carlsbad stop, the Oceanside stop actually. Then we would drive through Carlsbad, go all the way down to San Diego, and it would like let us off like a block away from the convention center. Right. But then I remember they expanded up to like Long Beach, and then they just kept going. And then by the time I moved out of California, it was already up to LA. But we didn't get to experience that until way later. We got a lot of comments already popping in. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I'm assuming you are too. It's been a few weeks.
I'm doing great. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. The more time that happens, the more things we have to say to each other. You know what I mean? At a certain point, you're kind of waiting for the content to come. There is a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. What's up, Prime? How's it going?
Let's do it like this then. Of all of the properties that were announced, what was the one that tickled you the most? Because I'm sure you probably had your feelers out there of what was going to be announced. What was the thing that you were super excited to finally get eyes on?
You know, realistically, I was really excited to see what Marvel was going to bring, because this is the first Comic-Con that they've been back in a very long ass time.
Yeah.
And I was pretty excited about it. And unsurprisingly, they stole the show this year. Marvel came out swinging and announced like the next 4 years worth of movies, a handful of TV shows, and basically said, everyone else doing anything else, you all suck because we're the best. And that was super weird.
They ruined next year's Comic-Con where they will get to show one of these properties, but they said everything. But to your point, they did. I mean, the level of stuff that they showed, not only in the Phase 5 stuff, but then also teasing Phase 6. Like, regardless of what we get in there, we now know where all this is building to, which has been a big gripe of fans of what is the point of all of this. We now know where this is going.
Did I lose you?
just for a second, but now we're back.
Let's go kind of go in order of how it kind of was announced, because I think that's the proper way to do it, because it was a snowball effect this Comic-Con, and I think that was the funniest part about it.
Right.
So first things, before Comic-Con even started, we got the Dungeons and Dragons movie. We got a trailer drop like the morning before it started. To me, I think this movie looks like just pure dumb fun. Like, just, it looks so stupid, but it looks really fun and entertaining. But as I said to you off air, unless this movie starts with a bunch of, if the movie starts with a bunch of nerds sitting in a room just making character sheets, I'm not going to be happy. Like, I want some meta aspect to this thing. And then I want to have like some random tangent in the movie where they pick up an NPC and then derail it for like 20 minutes, right?
I hear you. I don't think we're going to get fourth. I mean, maybe that is the thing they didn't show with this movie, that this group of kids has a counterpart of 5-year-olds who are playing them.
God, I hope so.
I hope so. I don't know if that's the case. I will let you know that I was also very tickled by this movie, and I was surprised just at looking at the main cast and the images that we saw. They put some money into this movie. I think for all the D&D fans out there, you should be happy that such a gorgeous commercial is going to happen that will get people into group. You need to be nice to newbies on Reddit. You need to get them dice. You need to show them and talk to them nicely, because this will grow that community in a way that D&D probably hasn't grown in a very long time. I mean, probably since Stranger Things was probably the last bump, and COVID helped, of course. But I think you can get moms and dads buying this for Christmas if they play this right.
I think so too, and I think a buddy of mine texted me after the first trailer dropped, and he was like, "Swear to God, if this movie does not end with like a black screen saying the party had to disband for 2 weeks, like, and just not finishing it until part 2, like, he's like, I'm not going to be satisfied, because I've never completed a full quest in one sitting. That's not how it works."
That's very true. Listen, I don't know what they're going to do with the longevity of this movie, but I will let you know. I hate to say it, I love Chris Pine. He is that Captain Kirk actor. I love him. I love him in everything. Every time I see him, he made those Wonder Woman movies very fun. I enjoy him. And if he is any level of competent and fun in this movie, hot dog. Let's like get him down as the new Master Thief guy.
Yeah, well, I was kind of surprised. Like, he looked like entertaining. He had his little quips and everything was fun. And then at the end, when he was playing like the lute, I was like, okay, so we got Chris Pine, big Chris Pine. Let's do this.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lute scene.
Yeah. So that's pretty fun. It sounds like he's playing a thief / bard. So I saw the dual class already off the bat, which is pretty great. But it looks like a lot of dumb fun. So following almost right after all of that started happening, we got a side comment. A side announcement, not even at Comic-Con, just like separately, that Zack Snyder is going to be voicing himself in the upcoming Teen Titans Go episode, where the Teen Titans are celebrating like an anniversary episode, like a big milestone. So they drive to the Warner Brothers lot, and they need to find a director to properly showcase their excitement. And they run into Zack Snyder, and I'm just like, it sounds so much dumb fun that I'm so excited that he's doing the voice of himself. Like, it'd be one thing like if like, oh, they're being disrespectful, they're gonna make fun of him, but like that's the point of the show. They make fun of everybody. But the fact that he's doing the voice of himself means that he's gonna be 100% in on the joke, and I love it so much.
Warner Brothers Animation has really been on the pulse of having these things in the I think it's episode 2 or 3 of the new season of Harley Quinn. We're in the Batcave, and Batman's arguing with Robin, his son. And in the background, you see the Bat computer, and one of the files says Batman suit with nipples, but then the other file says the Ayer cut. So I appreciate all of you wonderful nerd writers who are on Reddit and know what the communities are talking about. We appreciate you. Yeah. I know that they look at these things. They're reading these things. You know what I mean? They have as little power as we do, but I like those little nudges in there.
Oh, 100%. And so it's fun. And a lot of people are seeing it's like eerily prophetic in a way, because when the Harley Quinn show made fun of the Snyder Cut movement, and they didn't really make fun of it. The reality was that the showrunner and like the writers, they love Zack Snyder, and they were like 100% supporting it. But that show was 1,000 10,000% satire. So it was meant to be satire from the beginning. And they made this like fat bearded like nerd with a Release a Snyder Cut t-shirt arguing about like logistic stuff on the show. And it was really funny, and people were pissed off about it until they realized that these guys were like true hardcore fans, and they were just making fun of themselves in a way. And now we have the Aircut reference, so a lot of people are expecting like, oh, if they're making fun of it, that means something might be happening, which is fun, but I wouldn't read too much into it, to be honest. I just think it's fun.
The show pokes fun at everything. You should consider it an honor to be made fun of the show. I think it's them nodding their hat. Listen, we're not talking about Batgirl today, but I don't think Warner Brothers knows what's to do at this moment. So I don't think we're getting an air cut or anything until they figure out what else they're actually going to be doing.
So we have a comment coming up. Do you think San Diego Comic-Con should be moved to another place bigger every year? I go, it just seems more and more cramped, and it's quite difficult to enjoy, especially if kids are there, are with you there. What do you think? I think the novelty of San Diego Comic-Con is the fact that it's at the San Diego convention. They have other cons too. Like you have Emerald City Comic-Con here in Seattle. You have WonderCon in LA. Was that LA? Yeah, LA is WonderCon. And you got New York Comic-Con. You have all these cons that are just these big cities, but San Diego Comic-Con has always just been that one because of its location. So I think that what the studios should probably do is kind of rotate their announcements to not just be at San Diego Comic-Con and kind of move them around to the other ones too, so that people don't like flock and sell out at San Diego every year, because people now go to San Diego Comic-Con because they expect to be wowed, and it's less about a convention of nerds loving nerd stuff as it's what's the studio going to bring to the convention. So I think they need to separate that a bit more and kind of spread the love to the other cons too.
San Diego Comic-Con is like the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers have now moved from San Diego, and now nobody in San Diego watches the Chargers. If San Diego Comic-Con moves from San Diego, it will not be San Diego Comic-Con. They always will need a new venue. There's not enough space. There's not really any other venues down there to do something like that. I think they need to, exactly what Taylor said, spread some love to the other places, because San Diego is at capacity and will be at capacity forever until they bring the hype machine someplace else. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they won't build anything new. They couldn't build a stadium. They've been trying to build a stadium for 20 years. So there's no way they're going to build a new convention center just for Comic-Con. So it's going to be cramped. It's going to be cramped. It is.
And I think the city of San Diego knows that they need a new facility, just like they needed a new stadium for the Chargers. And just like that, it didn't happen. For whatever reason, it didn't happen, and that's just the reality. So I think at the time being, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be, but it is. So following that, there was a lot of rumblings, a lot of rumors, a lot of gossip leading up to Comic-Con that Henry Cavill would be showing up for the Black Adam panel. And didn't happen. And it was interesting because a lot of people heard this rumor, and it wasn't just like some idle gossip. It was like, I think even, was it Deadline or Variety even talked about it. And like when a major trade talks about it, you kind of can take that to the bank. And that's, I think, what set up DC's big failure was you have Dwayne Johnson come out in this awesome spectacle where he's like, I am Black Adam, and like does all this stuff, does all this like menacing, I'm in my suit, steps off stage, changes, come back, and they have their panel. They show off the trailer, and the trailer was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
The trailer looked really great. I don't understand how it's related to Shazam 2, which I don't think it is, but it should have been. As I was watching it, I'm like, why are they hiding this connection, which is obviously you're all have lightning bolts on your chest. Why would you not show that aspect of it?
No, they teased it in the Shazam movie. Like obviously they showed like The Rock like in like hologram form, like just like betray everybody. But unless they show that scene or we see the Wizard in this movie, they're just missing their connective tissue. Like it's just like they're slapping them. They're like shooting themselves in the foot, because they really 100% should. Because they also had this really awesome Shazam trailer, which I thought was just a lot of fun. I thought it was the movie looks ridiculous, and it looks like dumb fun. And I liked the first one, and I don't care who knows it. I really enjoyed the first one. And we've got Dame Helen Mirren as like the main villain, along with Lucy Liu. Like that just seems so weird, but I'm excited about it. So
it looked like a lot of fun. You could very clearly see the fun kid elements of it. It did feel like they're ratcheting up the seriousness of it, though. It feels like they are linking this into something more, which is fine. But I feel like the only problem with the Shazam movies is that there's a Justice League of superheroes there. There's a whole team of people, and they haven't really necessarily given them a conflict in need of that. So maybe the team takes on the Black Adam in the third act. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what they do with it.
So from what I've heard from behind the scenes, the setup for Black Adam is that they're going to set up a showdown between him and Henry Cavill, and they're going to have Amanda Waller being Amanda Waller, and she's going to be like, oh, something. He could be a threat, so we have to have someone who can meet that threat, and you're going to see like the Superman, Henry Cavill Superman symbol, and that's going to be like the big like they're going to fight, yes. And then with Shazam 2, let me just throw this on there if you all don't want to know. Spoiler alert. For Shazam 2, the big cameo is going to be Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is actually going to be a running gag throughout the movie that she's supposed to be present, and then they keep not showing her until like the very end when she shows up. Like, so they're going to have a lot of this connective tissue to the main DC universe, but I honestly feel like they 100% need to kind of lean into that a little bit more. Like, let people know that they're connected. Marvel succeeds because you know that it's connected. So let them take a page out of that book. Like, don't make the movies campy, don't make them silly, and don't make them childish and dumb fun like a lot of the Marvel stuff turns into. But let people know that if this is connected, don't hide the connection. Let the connection be present.
Well, I mean, here we run into the problem of the episode we haven't done yet of what are they going to do with Ezra Miller? Because it feels like established, this is where they keep running. This is where they keep kind of shooting themselves in the foot, where they don't want to say that they want to use Zack Snyder, but everything is still his vision. All of these characters, there's still his stamp of approval for basically 2.5, 3 more movies, which is also why I think maybe Batgirl got axed as well, because we need a clean break from all of this.
Oh no, I have things to say about that. We'll talk about that.
Okay, we can wait for it, but yeah, the tone of the two movies is off, and if they're any way connected, why not let me know that I should be watching all of these movies and that this new cinematic DC universe is important? Because it feels like they're going to swipe it all away from us, Taylor, next year. It feels like we're a year away from finding out all of this doesn't mean anything.
Right, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do because, like you said, it feels like we're a year away from the whole universe just stopping.
100%, especially when Warner Brothers already announced that like Batman 2 is happening. Like, we don't know what it is, but it for sure is happening. So it's like, that they're going to want to put their eggs in those baskets where that film is not only a pretty good box office hit, but then also like critics are like, oh, this is really good. Showed the new Batman to my brother-in-law, and when he watches, he's like, I don't like it. This isn't a Batman movie. The next day at breakfast, he goes, I really like that Batman movie. It wasn't a Batman movie. And I was like, that's the point. That's the whole point of all of this, is that we're going to bring those new people in there. Yeah.
And if wasn't the hugest fan of the Batman movie. She was all for it. She loves Robert Pattinson. She thinks he's the best. Because she's like a Twilight fan, so she's like, let's see this. And then we watched it, and she was like, I don't know. I kind of like Ben Affleck better. And I was laughing so hard about it. Because I was not expecting that at all.
So what got announced? What was the next? What hall were we in next? What was the next thing that got announced?
Yeah, of course. Michael, if you want to start handling the comments and start throwing those up on the screen, that would be super.
Do I just click on them? I mean, we didn't do.
Yeah, just click on it and then unclick it when you're done looking at it.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm learning in real time.
There we go.
Tith Adam is not being connected with Shazam and is almost as annoying as Venom with the Spider-Man connection. At least DC projects are better written than the Sony ones, ? I'm going to let you know that it's crazy that you said that, because in some of these reveals, I'm like, man, maybe they need to do the Sony thing and go to
separate it all.
Gee, I don't know, maybe, or get like another studio involved with these characters. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they want to join those profits, but like maybe I don't know if it's more cooks in the kitchen are needed, but maybe some other eyes or some direction with some of this stuff.
No, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it definitely feels like that. Like, because Sony is doing their thing because of like the weird. I treat Spider-Man like it's a divorced couple with a shared custody of a child. Like that's what Spider-Man is.
Sure.
And what we're seeing is what the home life is at each of the parents' house. Like Marvel is one parent and Sony is another. And we get to see what the home life is when the child is not there. So like when the child is present, everything's fantastic. When the child's not there, you get like, oh, okay. So we get Captain Marvel and we get Venom. So that's what it's like when the child's not home.
Jeez Louise. It's
right?
So
yeah. It's kind of disjointed and 100% I acknowledge it is.
Oof.
So
oof. All right. What was the next? What was the big? Well, you sent me a bunch of trailers. What got announced next?
I did. So after they did those two things, and Henry Cavill didn't show up, and the audience booed out their disapproval of Dwayne Johnson, which was funny because he's presenting the Black Adam stuff, and he gets asked the questions, and he gets booed on stage, which I probably is like a very humbling moment for him, for someone who doesn't get booed for anything. That's got to be weird.
He gets booed when he played a bad guy for years. He's used to boos, but he's not used to being booed at a situation like this. Like, aren't we giving you nerds what you want? And it's like, you overpromised. Somebody said Henry Cavill was going to be there and they fucked up. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And then you have, on that same note, I think we'll just talk about in the next show where we talk about Ben and Henry specifically, because we have so many things about that.
Sure.
So after all that happened, it was Marvel's turn, and Marvel started off with their let's talk about our animated stuff, and they threw out, to me, what I'm excited about, X-Men 97, which you and I, as kids, we watched the X-Men cartoon, and now that we're getting a continuation of that show, I love it because spoiler alert.
Oh no! Do you have real spoilers? Do you know real spoilers?
So spoiler alert: the original X-Men show ended with Professor X dying. That was the finale. It was called Graduation Day. He was like on his deathbed, and Magneto was like, I'm not going to be a villain anymore because my brother's dying, kind of a thing. And he like turned a new leaf. And then as they were like all mourning him and going around his bed, like ready for him to die, Lilandra from the Shi'ar Empire shows up and says, we have the technology to fix him. We're taking his body. And she like took him. And that was kind of how that show ended, was like, so is Professor X dead? Is he coming back? What's going on? But he basically leaves the X-Men Academy to Magneto. So this show picks up where that ended, where the X-Men are still the X-Men. It's like maybe like a few weeks later, Magneto is not in the same outfit anymore. He's got like this purpley robe with a big M on his chest.
He's got the M outfit. The M outfit's it's a famous outfit.
Yeah, very, very 90s comic costume. They showed us concept art of the Sentinels, the X-Force, some of the Morlocks. You got Mr. Sinister coming back. You got a bunch of stuff. Like they're 100% connecting to that original show, which I just love.
All right, let's go to Speculation Town. I feel like we're going to get maybe one or two new X-Men introduced.
Right.
And somewhere in the show, one of these X-Men are going to fall through a portal and are going to show up in live action and go, oh no, sugar, I'm in another dimension. And Rogue is now going to be in the MCU. I think one of these things are going to break the anime. Why would they do just an animated show to have it be its own thing? I think they're going to link it with the greater world, kind of like they did with the What If show. Yeah. Because all of a sudden those characters started popping up left and right. They brought X-Men 97 into Doctor Strange 2. I think this might be the X-Men we get in live action.
Maybe. But at the same time, there's also a word that because of the contracts that they did when Marvel bought Fox, they chose not to pay out the contracts of all the writers, the characters, the actors, all that stuff. Because they chose to do that, they cannot touch these characters until 2025.
Ugh. Okay. Well,
so we're probably not going to see the X-Men.
7, Phase 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see the X-Men after the grand relaunch of the MCU, aka the end of Secret Wars.
Let's just highlight this comment because I don't think babies understand this. More Gambit, please. Like, much more Gambit. We have been waiting for Gambit since the bad Wolverine movie. There has been talks of more Gambit forever, and they have all failed. The Channing Tatum project failed, whatever it was supposed to be beforehand.
I can go on a rant for how awesome that project would have been, because I heard so many details, costume details, story details, everything. And like when they canceled that thing, when Marvel came in and bought Fox out from under them and canceled that project, I was legitimately pissed. Because despite the fact that Channing Tatum was going to play Gambit, everything else about that movie would have been amazing. And I was like, oh,
I'll have you find the
so close.
I know. I'll have you find the storyboards. Okay, so they hit us with the X-Men cartoon, which I did see, but I didn't see anything about the Spider-Man cartoon. Are they doing a remake of the 1960s Spider-Man cartoon?
Okay, so they announced these two shows, and then they announced a few other things, but this is how they threw it at us. Spider-Man Freshman Year is a brand new show that's coming out. Other way. This show is basically a multiversal story, and it's a retelling of the MCU's Spider-Man, but from a different universe. So in this new universe, instead of crossing paths with Iron Man, he becomes the mentee to Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn approaches him, mentors him, and then you know how that's going to go.
And that was a storyline. They've done that storyline before, correct? This is
a few times in the comics. It's pretty rad, actually.
So we're going to now get the MCU version of that story,
right? And then with that, they announced obviously Spider-Man's going to go through some costume weirdness, which I don't even know what to think because I like the main costume. The Future Foundation costume I'm weirded out that that's there. The Night thing. And isn't that the Beetle on the other side? Like, what's he doing in there?
Yeah,
but apparently,
I don't know. Spider-Man's got some ideas under his thing. Who knows?
But then the villains. So we got Scorpion. We got a Pyro Dude. We got Dr. Octopus before he's Dr. Octopus.
Just so you know, at a glance, these all look like Aqua Teen Hunger Force characters.
God, I love that reference.
All of these characters look like they have ridiculous comedian voices.
I hope they do. I hope Patton Oswalt does the voice of Doc Ock.
I mean, you almost have the makings of the Sinister, right? Don't you have the Sinister
8
here?
right there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just about.
But there's so many more photos that I want to put up there, but I'm not going to because we would spend 20 minutes going over all those photos.
Sure.
But they announced this, and they kind of didn't tell anybody about this until days later with more interviews that they said, yeah, this is a multiversal story. It's a new project. It's 100% separate from what we already have on the MCU. But it's another branch of the multiverse that they're exploring. So that's what we're getting.
Cool.
So that sounds fun. I'm all for it. Let's watch it. Daredevil's going to be in that show. Charlie Cox is doing the voice, which is pretty rad.
Can I just say that I feel like thank you, Marvel, for listening and keeping him around and now having him be the centerpiece of a lot of stuff. I also think he's probably going to be in. I mean, they're going to put him in the movies, right? All of this, he's going to be on the Avengers. He might die in the next couple of movies as well, but like he's around now.
Yes, he is 100% around now, and I am all for it because, I mean, we can't deny it. Charlie Cox is the best thing that Netflix had done with the character in a long ass time, and the reality is that we had Marvel was 100% going to reboot everything. They were going to recast everything. And they were not so subtle about it either, because a lot of fans were like, "Oh no, they won't do it. It's all connected. It's all connected." But then they cast the villain, two of the villains from Luke Cage, in other Marvel properties. One of them is freaking Blade now.
Yeah.
So for people saying that it's all connected, they're not 100% paying attention, I guess, because it's not. But they decided that they're going to keep enough of it that worked. Like they're going to keep Vincent D'Onofrio. I can never pronounce his name. They're gonna keep Kingpin. They're gonna keep Daredevil, but they're gonna change things. And that was the big thing that shocked people was they dropped She-Hulk, which everyone was like, "Oh, She-Hulk."
Hold on. I need wait before we go to She-Hulk. Do you want them to bring back Netflix's Paige and Foggy Nelson?
100%, but I don't think they will.
You think
maybe
they
we'll
get
Foggy,
recast?
but maybe not Paige.
Ooh,
Because they're going to be they internally, I've heard from a few people that they're going to keep some people, but recast a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay.
And Foggy, the dynamic between Foggy and Matt in that show was just fantastic. So I want them to maintain that. But I don't know. There's going to have to be some changes, and it's going to be jarring for some people.
Listen,
but
all the other changes are going to be the other defenders. All of those other heroes are going to get recast. FYI, I don't think any of those come
probably
back over.
Just because they're all doing other stuff right now.
Right.
Like from my understanding, Luke, the actor who plays Luke Cage, is locked in on a Paramount Plus show that he's not getting away from anytime soon.
Okay.
Kristen Ritter, who's Jessica Jones, she is just signed on for a whole new show herself. So I don't know. They may not be able.
Now I will tell you that the She-Hulk trailer that was dropped made me way more interested in the show than the first trailer. And I'm going to let you know that they should really hit hard this fun double Hulk angle, because all of the benches up in LA just show like She-Hulk attorney at law, call this number. I ignore all those benches. I just assume they're trying to sell me legal services. This finally made me excited for the show.
And what made the internet excited, there was a meme going around where like a SpongeBob scene where like SpongeBob is by himself, like on that little stand, and nobody's talking. And then all of a sudden he puts up a little card and like everyone's flocks to him. And that little card was freaking Daredevil.
Holding the Billy Clubs, absolutely looking great.
But in the yellow and red costume. And that's going to be one of the many ways they're going to show you that this is a different variant version of the character, is that he's not in the same costume. It's a lot of similarities, but some key differences. Obviously, with his appearance as Spider-Man, his haircut's different, but the rest of him looks the same. And then you have Kingpin in Hawkeye, and he's physically more stronger, like comic book level stronger.
Yes.
Ripping doors off cars, like taking arrows to the chest and shrugging them off. Like he's a very different character.
Also, he was kind of sloppy. He like showed up in like a Hawaiian shirt. You know what I mean?
That's actually from the comics, so like that's a real thing.
Oh, I know, but the other version show is him in like Prada and like black, you know what I mean? And that was not the case here.
Yeah, this Kingpin is more of the underworld, and the other Kingpin was more of the aristocratic villain.
Right.
And we're going to see a very different version of everything. But the big shocker was that this announcement was that we'll get to that in a second. But She-Hulk is going to be showing us a lot of weird stuff, and it has the very strong potential of being kind of like a breakout hit for it existing. I mean, that second trailer really redeemed a lot of people's complaints, and I, for one, was not interested the first trailer. Second trailer, I'm going to tune in because it looks like it could be a lot of fun.
The first trailer looked like a Disney Plus show, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it looked like the budget wasn't there, and it kind of made me sad. The second trailer looked like they want She-Hulk to be in Avengers movies.
Yeah.
The way that they kind of, I mean, look at all the heroes she's interacting with. Look at all the stuff with the regular Hulk. To me, this felt like this was you. I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up at Avengers compound at the end of it and goes, "Oh, we need a lawyer here." I mean, that's kind of where it felt like, especially when they started teasing, when they did tease Daredevil, which I hope he also gets to do lawyer work. I hope he's like, I can help you with that lawyer stuff if you want. She'll turn him down, of course. But the show looks a lot better now.
So I'm just reading the comments. There's so many comments, everybody. You're just blowing it up. Let's see. If Michael's theory comes true, does that mean freshman year Spider-Man could be in the Secret Wars? It probably. The 100%. Reality is that the Secret Wars is going to be a multiversal war, and we're probably going to see a lot of variants. We're going to see a lot of weird stuff, and we're going to see a lot of like duplicate characters. So I'm fully expecting, I'll say this right now, I'm fully expecting Robert Downey Jr. to show up, along with 5 other actors also playing Iron Man as well. I'm expecting some weird stuff.
Or Robert Downey Jr. comes in as Iron Man, but not our Iron Man. And maybe we get alcoholic Iron Man. Maybe we get, some of the other Iron Mans from the comic books that we haven't seen.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me look through. So many comments, good things. Thank goodness they listen. Gomer Pyle. CJ looks way better now. John Bernthal as Punisher. I talked to a few people about this specifically. From my understanding, Berthel does not want to come back as Punisher unless they allowed the project to be TVMA, and Marvel didn't want it to be TVMA on Disney Plus.
They're gonna make Punisher shoot robots and aliens and things with exploding heads that shoot green guts everywhere, because that's how you kill things in the MCU. And he'll get there, but he's not going to be. We're not going to get that Punisher, and we're not going to get that Punisher until another universe guy shows up.
Yeah, we're probably gonna. I don't know. I don't want Disney touching Punisher if that's how they're gonna do it. Like I'm in the same stance as Bernthal. Unless they want to do it the way Netflix did it and give us the TVMA hardcore, like, holy crap, don't hide your kids kind of a thing. I just don't want them using the character. I don't want them to nerf the character. So if they're not going to do it right, I don't want them to do it at all.
Now, when did they show the I Am Groot cartoon? Was that also a part of the other one, or was that during this block?
They showed that along with everything else, the I Am Groot cartoon, which they have now officially declared as being canon to the movies.
Of course it is.
So this version of Groot is going to, these stories take place between when Groot was at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to their next appearance like a couple years later in Infinity War. So it's canon there.
And I'm sure we'll see whatever toy or trinket he picks up in this adventure in the next movie.
Probably.
Now, I'll let you know if this becomes a subplot of the movie or something like that, like he loses the bead that he got from those ant people with the guns. I'm going to let you know that they got to do a better job of linking these material together, because I feel like there's so much Marvel content now that people are going to fall behind and are going to lose points and not know exactly what's going on or what this means.
Yeah, for sure. But no, let's kind of like wrap it up with Comic-Con, because we still have those 2 other shows that we want to talk about, and we're going to do those in a minute.
When did they show off Black Panther?
Black Panther came following the big reveal of Marvel's Phase 5. They showed off everything, and it's like like you said at the beginning of the show, they showed their hand, and they showed Ant-Man Quantumania. They brought Kang front and center. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, they showed the High Evolutionary. Secret Invasion, they basically said this is a TV show that's more like an Avengers movie than a show. Echo confirmed that Kingpin and Daredevil are going to be there. Not only that, Daredevil is getting his own show at a whopping 18 episodes. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's basically not only are they going to reestablish an entire universe that the Netflix show did, but I also feel like we're going to get the next season that we didn't get of that show. We're going to kind of get into this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's not going to be like a true blue Netflix season 3 Daredevil, but it's going to be like, here's the reboot, but also a continuation of what you want. It's like they're going to spend a lot of time showing off what they took from us. So
right. And then I would also assume, they showed that this goes to the Avengers Kang the Conqueror, but then do you have the other picture where it shows all the empty spots?
Yes. So, and then after they did all that, they announced Phase 6 will have just a butt ton of empty stuff because they don't want to show it to us yet. But that's where Young Avengers is going to go, right? I mean, that's where we're going to get 10,000%. That's where those, especially, and also I feel like Fantastic Four is going to be the flagship that shows up into everything else. Yeah, 100%.
And maybe we even get depending on how old Johnny Storm is, he could also show up on any of these other teams.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what they do with it. But I'm looking forward to it. After all of that, they announced that phases 4, 5, and 6 are officially the multiverse saga. So now it's no longer the Infinity Saga. Like they announced that the reason why everything seems so disconnected right now is because it's meant to be. It's a multiverse story.
And also that they're going to ruin all this stuff's going to get messed up that they then have to put back. I would assume that we're going to get seasons of show that are wrong, and it's like, why? It's like, they got to put all these pieces back together. Yeah.
I honestly feel like what they're probably going to do is, as they lead into the finale of Phase 6, the Secret Wars, they're going to reboot everything. Like that's what they're going to do. That's the multiversal war is going to end, and the MCU is getting rebooted.
And then we get Iron Man 1 again. We get Thor again. We get a new Captain. I guess we're getting another Captain America in there. Maybe we don't get another one right away.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'm not expecting, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, but it's not going to be the Secret Wars that we know it's going to be or we think it's going to be, because it's going to be different.
Was there anything, as we wrap this one up, was there anything that surprised you? Was there anything you thought you were going to see that you didn't see? Was there anything that surprised you that they showed off?
No, not really. I mean, all the stuff that they announced for Marvel, I knew was coming, and I was kind of surprised that they announced it here, instead of like D23 later this year, like they normally do with all their stuff.
Right.
But that was pretty fun. It was pretty cool seeing them do that there. I was a little surprised that there wasn't any surprises from DC at all. Like we all knew that they were gonna kind of shit the bed, and they 100% did. So.
Why do you think? I mean, maybe we save this. Maybe we save this for the next episode. Then.
Oh yeah, we do, because I have so many things.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you, why did DC shit the bed? Because I have some thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, and I will go into that in detail, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I think today's Batgirl stuff is kind of like, oh, this is why this is happening, because there is some shit that's happening behind the scenes.
Got it.
And it's important that everyone is aware that this stuff is happening, because it's going to kind of change the face of DC for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you this, COVID took all this stuff away, and San Diego Comic-Con came back, and it feels like it's back in a big way. And if people are expecting these, bombshells and stuff like that, I feel like some people got it, especially down there this time, especially with all the Marvel reveals. I don't know if they can do it year to year, but all of these movies are so tied into the studios making money. This is Hollywood. I mean, these are the big movies. I mean, this is Disney's, they're going to have some kid movies and some Star Wars in there, but I mean, they showed off all the big stuff.
Yeah, they showed their hand, and their hand is massive.
Yeah. Well,
like, there's no way around that.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Well, let's put a bookmark in that there. Some really exciting stuff. We didn't touch on any of the Lord of the Rings stuff. It looks good. I don't have any opinion on it. It all looks fine to me, Taylor.
I have
coming to my house.
I have thoughts, because I am a big Tolkien buff and always have been. I read all the books. I love all the books. And everyone is like, oh, that's racist. Why are they adding black people to Middle Earth? And blah, blah, blah. Like, that doesn't matter to me, because, I mean, Tolkien based his works as if Middle Earth was just Great Britain, but thousands of years ago. His whole idea was that Middle Earth was meant to be an ancient Great Britain. So it made sense that in a continent that was predominantly white would have just white people in ancient times. Like, I understood the logic of why he wrote it that way, but that doesn't exist in 2022. So we'll see what happens. I'm just curious if they're going to try to tie it into the movies, and if they are, how are they going to explain where all the other people went after that?
I don't want to hear about whatever this genocide was that we aren't aware of. It's only going to make me sad.
Because it seems like if they're trying to connect it to the movies, how are they going to do that in explaining where all the black people went? There's no good answer. So why do it?
They're not going to explain it, but also let this show be its own thing. I
hope it is. I do.
Yeah, and also, I don't understand why. Listen, I understand people's passion about certain things, and I understand that there's a lot of really passionate people about this, but it's part of your Amazon Prime subscription. You're not even you don't even have to go to a movie theater and buy expensive tickets. So, I just feel like people need to, let it be its own thing. I think it's going to be better than people think.
Yeah, but, so let's wrap this one up, and let's start our next one. Our next episode that we're going to start in just a few minutes after we both stand up, stretch, and sit back down and do our thing.
Of course.
We are going to talk about what on earth is going on with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck. So take this as a brief intermission in our long episode tonight, because yes, we broke it up into 3 episodes, but think of each episode break as an intermission, because it's going to be needed.
Don't go. Yeah, all of you stay here. To everybody else, have a wonderful day. Drink lots of water. We'll see all you kids soon.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Let's run the title cards just because of just pure habit. If you want to support what we do, patreon.com/theculturednerd. Head over there. Support any tier you want, any tier that you feel that it is worth supporting us for. We'll take it. Thank you again for our current Patreons, for all of you for what you do. Again, my name is Taylor Murphy. I'm the host. Michael Santel is my co-host here. And for those of you sitting there in front of a TV, you can scan the QR code and see all of our links. Like, subscribe, and support us any way you feel necessary. Thank you again, everybody. We'll talk very soon.
We'll talk to you very soon.